Calaroga Shark Media.
Well, I guess we know the answer to why they didn't promote the lineup for the Roast of Kevin Hart. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac. I'm recording this at 9 p.m., where I just turned the roast off during Lizzo. Now, if the rest of the night was amazing and there were surprises, then they didn't structure the show correctly, because that first hour, boy, I feel tired from watching it. I kind of wanted to turn it off half an hour ago. Maybe it got better. I got some notes for you here. Shane Gillis came out. Shane's material probably better than the crowd reacted to it. A tough room for Shane. He wound up eating it a little bit. He opened up and did about a minute or so. I did pull some clips. Now, just assume for any clip that I play during today's podcast that I have made edits for language. Lots of F-bombs, and we don't like to do that on this program. But here's a little bit of Shane Gillis.
Welcome to the Roast of Kevin Hart, live in Los Angeles, where we're, where we're here to celebrate a guy we used to like in a city that was once important. Kevin will be out in a minute. I'm sure he's backstage shadowboxing or doing a group prayer or whatever he does. I'm your extremely white host, Shane Gillis. White host. Big applause. All right. I'd just like to thank Netflix for choosing me to host this celebration of black excellence. Look, I'm not saying there's a lot of black people here tonight, but backstage, a production assistant asked me what color drank I want in my dressing room. Chose purple.
And you can even hear in my delivery as I'm doing the podcast, like I just don't have the energy to be excited about this at all. So after Shane, Usher came out and sang. Kevin, it was just like overacting, like fake outraged. Like it was almost like wrestling, like, oh, I can't believe you're bashing me at the roast. Like, yeah, no kidding. It just felt very, very lame. Kevin Hart got up there and said it would be better than the roast of Tom Brady. That ain't true.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be way better than the Tom Brady roast. Way better. Way better. The reason why is because I'm not a bitch. Tom is a bitch. Tom sat there the whole time with the white man face. Went on radio stations after, what is that about me? I can't believe.
And then in the leadoff position, Tom Brady came out. I thought that was a weird choice. Here's a little bit of Tom Brady.
I do have a few words for you before I return to my affairs in Las Vegas. Oh, wait. I'm talking about affairs in Las Vegas. Was that off? Not supposed to talk about affairs in Vegas? I think I broke another rule.
One line I did like was Brady ripped the dais, saying it wouldn't be a Kevin Hart project unless it was a crappy sequel. I mean, no star power at all. Chelsea Handler, Pete Davidson, Tony Hinchcliffe, and those were the big names. I mean, I'm just not feeling this thing at all. All right, Shane comes back out, does a longer set here, and I think he kind of ate it again, but I did like this line.
We're all here to honor Kevin Hart. And what a better way to do that than to take a paycheck while pretending to have fun.
Shane did get in some good shots about Kevin Hart playing the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Shane said he himself turned down the Riyadh Comedy Festival to honor the brave firefighters who lost their lives that day. Right, Pete? That was kind of a nice jab. Jeff Ross comes out. It's already 8:26, and the energy's out of the room, in my opinion, by the time Jeff Ross comes out. He came out dressed in an Eddie Murphy-style red outfit to the music of Axel F. Here's a little Jeff Ross.
We've been friends a long time, but the world first fell in love with you when Michael Jackson dangled you over that balcony.
Jeff had a couple quick riffs. He said Kevin put the elf in Philadelphia. He also called him Eddie Smurfy. Jeff's set was pretty strong. He also had a joke about Pete Davidson only banging 9s and 11s. I like that one a lot. The next person up was Naim Wynn. Not exactly a household name. Mr. Wynn explained he has a show on BET. I thought the material was pretty good, but it was already 8:37 at that point, and I hadn't been really laughing all that much. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Wynn did ask where Dave Chappelle was. Good point. Chelsea Handler was next. She was good, but I thought her set was really long. And then Lizzo came out, and during Lizzo, I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm not feeling this, and I don't feel like chasing this thing to 11 o'clock. Sometimes you just have to punt. So maybe you all disagree. Maybe the rest of the night got more amazing, and I'll be eating crow on Tuesday's podcast. But as I speak to you at 9:05 p.m. Sunday night, not feeling the roast of Kevin Hart at all. Very interesting, though, that like who didn't come. You know, some of those names that I had thrown out speculating on Sunday's program, and and people not showing up for Kevin, I don't know what to make of that. Another thing that caught my eye on Sunday, Bloomberg dropped an article, just like I saw it on social media, like an hour before the roast of Kevin Hart. The headline, "Inside a Year of Chaos and Conflict at Kevin Hart's Media Company." Now, to drop this on a Sunday is a choice. Please understand that. That's a choice. Lucas Shaw writes, when Kevin Hart announced in January that he'd license his name to Authentic Brands Group, the popular comedian was silent on a key detail, the future of his namesake media company. Skipping around the article, Hart's employees say they worry that the deal marks the beginning of the end of HartBeat. Once valued at about $650 million, HartBeat has shriveled over the past few years. The company enacted its latest round of job cuts in December, firing the heads of its scripted TV division, as well as employees working across marketing, social media, and brand partnerships. The article then walks through several acquisitions and people leaving the company. The article ends telling us about an email sent by Kevin Hart's assistant in which Kevin Hart says, "I know the past few months have been tough." And Kevin apparently added that for too long, the company had been too dependent on him. The email was said to be signed by Kevin, a.k.a. Boss Man. As I said, interesting timing to drop that on a Sunday afternoon. That is a choice. Stephen Colbert now into his last 2 weeks. Tonight should be a really good episode. He will interview Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver. That's right. Strikeforce 5 is reuniting. You may recall those gentlemen during the SAG-AFTRA and Writers Guild strikes did the Strikeforce 5 podcast together. Proceeds from that podcast went towards supporting the crew members of the respective shows. I guess it all works out. Kimmel in town for the upfronts. Jimmy Fallon already in New York City. Seth Meyers and John Oliver already in New York City. So it should be a good late show tonight. The original host of the late show, David Letterman, will be Stephen Colbert's guest on May 14th, which is Thursday. From jambands.com, your home for jam band news, John Mulaney calls Bruce Hornsby's Indigo Park the best album of the year. Now, if you were listening the other day when my dog came by and the dog wanted to go for a walk, I went for a walk and listened to Indigo Park based on John Mulaney's suggestion. It's not the best album of the year, but it's pretty good. It is sonically interesting. I kind of like that Bruce Hornsby undersings it. The first two tracks, the last track are really good, and there's one with North Carolina in the title that are really good. The rest of the album is hit and miss, but it really goes for it. A donkey charity has named a newborn foal after Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais donated 100,000 British pounds to help Safe Haven for Donkeys. Safe Haven for Donkeys was one of 22 animal charities that benefited from Ricky Gervais' Christmas donations, over 2.5 million British pounds. Safe Haven for Donkeys cares for working donkeys in Israel, the West Bank, Gaza, and parts of Egypt. They've been treating thousands of donkeys in the Gaza Strip, where a lack of fuel has forced people to rely on donkeys as their main form of transport. A tiny foal named Gervais was born at the charity sanctuary in Israel on April 19th. Gervais' mother, Deborah, was found abandoned in southern Israel in September and was around 2 years old and was 7 months pregnant when found. A local woman contacted Safe Haven for Donkeys. The charity transported Deborah to their sanctuary in Israel. Andy Foxcroft is the chief executive of Safe Haven and said, Gervais, the donkey, is full of life and already showing off her first teeth. She's brought so much joy to the team and is a tiny symbol of hope this World Donkey Day. Deborah could have given birth alone after being abandoned. Instead, she was safe, watched over, and cared for, and Gervais has had the start every foal deserved. Now, some more donkey facts. The sanctuary team had hoped that Theodora, another rescue donkey, and a companion of Deborah, might act as an auntie to the new arrival. You see, in the wild, new mothers sometimes accept help from another female donkey. Theodora initially stayed close by Deborah and Gervais. However, Deborah seems to prefer caring for Gervais on her own. Billboard put out the list of top comedy tours for March 2026. Greg Davies at number 5, 7 shows, 37,700 tickets, grossed $2.5 million. Number 4, John Mulaney did 14 shows, 31,300 tickets, $3.1 million gross. Bert Kreischer, 13 shows, 54,600 tickets, grossed $3.7 million. Number 2, Nate Bargatze, off of number 1. This month he was number 2, 8 shows, grossed $4.6 million across 56,900. And who's making more money than anybody? You can hate all you want. Matt Rife did 7 shows, sold 93,300 tickets, and grossed $8.3 million. Here's an email I saved from a week ago. Remember I told you that Just for Laughs decided to announce a bunch of shows during Netflix week? Not sure that was the best strategy, but hey, I love those guys, and we can get to it now. They've added a second show by Jerry Seinfeld. He'll be at the Place des Arts, which is how you pronounce it. The 6:30 show was sold out. The 9:30 show has been added. Chris Fleming at Les National. That's how you pronounce it. 7 o'clock, also on the 23rd. Wow, the 23rd is where it's at. Dan Soder will be at Club Soda. That's a good club. Been in it myself. Did I have a soda? No, I had a beer. July 25th, 7 o'clock. Joel Kim Booster, you know him from Scrubs now. He's also there on the 23rd, 7 o'clock at Studio TD. 2 of the galas are sold out. Otsko at Kotska, July 24th at the Place des Arts. And Gabe Iglesias' gala, same venue on the 25th, are sold out. The Jerry D gala, still tickets. And the Mike Birbiglia gala, not yet sold out on the 24th at 6:30. Hashtag Team Gianmarco Cerezi. SNL UK has been renewed for Season 2. It'll be back this fall and early 2027, so more of a traditional schedule there. 12 episodes have been ordered. SNL UK executive producer Lorne Michaels said, "I'm incredibly proud of our team and the show. It keeps getting better every week. I'm grateful to Dana Strong and Sky for believing in and supporting SNL UK. I'm excited for the season ahead." Dana Strong is the Sky CEO. The series started with 226,000 viewers for episode 1, hosted by Tina Fey. Jack Whitehall had the lowest numbers of the season up until the time of this recording, with 119,540 viewers. Boy, that's like Seth Meyers territory. Seems like the show's settling in at around 140,000. However, on social media, the Prince Andrew cold open from episode 2 has 2.4 million views, and a cold open with King Charles and Queen Camilla has 1.7. Royal Family is where it's at, everybody. Good time to plug the Palace Intrigue podcast. We talk about the royal family twice every day, and I'm the writer on that. Check that out. Diane Morgan, who some people think I have a crush on. And I was thinking about this the other day. Let's say I had a crush on Diane Morgan. Now, first of all, I'm married, but putting that aside, what would I even say to Diane Morgan? "Hi, I really like when you do Kunk and I host a podcast in my basement." I have no game. Diane Morgan, who some people say I have a crush on, is getting ready for a BBC comedy, Android. A-N-N, new word, droid. Get it? No premiere date yet, but Android tackles AI in everyday life, exploring how far society will go in replacing people with tech. Android centers on an elderly woman and a humanoid care robot. You see, Sue's husband David passed away 18 months ago, and her only son Michael is moving out to try and fix his marriage. But the good news is he got Sue a surprise to help her live independently, and that is a second-hand Android Z58/100 basic elder care robot played by Diane Morgan. Android is an overly attentive, socially inept pain in the arse, says the British copy. But she soon works out that she can use the droid to her benefit in settling scores and doing the things her son never gets around to. Diane Morgan is Android. I'll watch. James Austin Johnson will be touring right after SNL wraps up the new season this weekend with Will Ferrell and musical guest Paul McCartney. Is it Lauren's farewell, or is it just a really good host and a really good musical guest? We'll find out. James Austin Johnson playing New York City, Dallas, Uncasville, Connecticut, that's a casino, Red Hook, New York, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, 4 shows in various North Carolinas, Philly, Indianapolis, Chicago, Richmond Heights, Missouri, Pittsburgh, and wraps it up in Nashville. I cannot imagine he will not be back for the new season of SNL. Emily Catalano, she was a guest on this program. She's gone viral. A video of a nurse springing into action when a patron passed out at Emily Catalano's show has gone viral. In the clip, Emily Catalano asked an audience member what their occupation in Ann Arbor was. The audience member said they were nurse. Seconds later, a man passes out and falls to the ground. The nurse offered medical advice and called 911. Emily Catalano moved to the side. And the social media clip has added music from TV series The Pit to make it more dramatic. Catalano joked, "I hate when people steal the attention away from me."
Gossip Corner, whispers in the street. Gossip Corner, probably about Pete. Gossip Corner, where the rumors meet. With Johnny Mac, it's always a treat. Gossip Corner, whispers in the street. Gossip Corner, probably about Pete. Gossip Corner, where the rumors meet. With Johnny Mac, it's always a treat.
Gossip Corner is about Pete Davidson Boy, I'm starting to think if you want to invest in stuff, don't listen to Pete Davidson. He's trying to sell this house in Westchester. Realtor.com says Pete has decreased the asking price again. Weeks after he listed it for $2.7 million, he's now dropped it by another $125. So if you would like to buy Pete Davidson's home, it is now going for $2.15 million. Fox is holding their upfronts today. Bad news for Dennis Leary. Going Dutch was the lowest-rated entertainment program at Fox, according to Deadline. However, Dennis Leary is well-liked internally, so they thought about renewing the lowest-rated entertainment program at Fox, but saner heads prevailed, and no more Going Dutch. You may recall, or you probably don't because no one watched this thing, Dennis Leary played U.S. Army Colonel Patrick Quinn, who was reassigned to the Netherlands, where he was punished with a command position at the least strategic army base in the world. Of course, it worked out that his daughter, Captain Maggie, worked there. Shockingly, not renewed. Better news for Joel McHale. Animal Control will come back. If you're jonesing for comedy festivals, the Boston Fringe Festival kicks off tonight. 40 acts around the city during this week. Not just stand-up, there will also be clowning, magic, and musical parody. Co-founder Debbie Jandy said Boston is such a huge comedy scene and comedy community, but we do allocate space for musicals and specifically for like variety shows, magic, or something that's different. Comedy is the most specific slots, but we did make sure to keep it variety, so we're not just doing a comedy festival. The co-founder said they haven't seen any of the acts except for the two that they're doing, so outside of those two, we have no idea what's coming. That's fun. I'm still picking away at this Deadline interview with the Netflix folks. I saved some of the stuff that was not festival-related for this week. Deadline asked head of comedy Robbie Praw why we've seen a dwindling of projects like Verified Stand-Up, which served as a showcase for young stand-ups. Robbie Praw said the honest answer is it's tough to get the viewership. When we did the stand-ups, the first season of it, I think it's 8 or 9 years ago, the numbers were massive. And if you look who was on it, it was Nate Bargatze, Nikki Glazer, Fortune Feimster, Dion Cole. But we quite frankly stopped seeing great numbers for that. We want opportunities like that to be really winning for stand-ups, and if they're not, we're going to work on other ways of finding the opportunities. We ended up doing more freshman specials for people like Derek Stroop, and that's how we're getting it done now, less in the multi-comic way. I think that's all fair. Deadline asked, what's the importance of comedy to the company? Robbie Praw said, the festival is a great example of a manifestation of that, because you have people who maybe they did a Netflix special 4 years ago, maybe the last special was on YouTube or Hulu or Amazon or HBO, but at the festivals, these things are still playing on Netflix. So I think it feels great that even when folks do projects somewhere else, to a lot of these artists, this still always feels like part of their home, which is a pretty cool thing. Deadline asked, do you have any predictions for the comedy marketplace in the next 3 to 5 years? Robbie Praw said, I think it's going to continue to be really strong. We've seen the artists that are emerging. It's pretty exciting. We used to talk years ago about, is this a boom? And now I think comedy is just part of the culture. I think things ebb and flow. I think comedy movies are going to come back in a big way. And that is your comedy news for today. I will catch you tomorrow.